Simone Biles, the Olympic gymnast, is getting all kinds of flack from America right now because she decided to comment on a situation that is taking place. Okay, this lady right here on the right side with the Kentucky on, her name is Riley Gaines. And in 2022, she went up against Leah Thomas, a transgender swimmer. They're both swimmers, and they were swimmers in the NCAA. They both placed fifth place. They gave the award to Leah Thomas, who's 6'1" and is a transgender. So Leah Thomas is a man. I had to tell you that backstory because Riley Gaines, the lady that lost to the transgender swimmer, commented on Minnesota High School's girls softball team because they won the 2025 state championship, but they have a transgender on their team. And ironically, they turned off the comments on this photo of that winning team with the transgender young adult on X. And Riley Gaines has something to say about that. I found a video by a YouTube channel by the name of Sports Wars, and I think he did a pretty good job at describing exactly what took place. I need you guys to listen to this because this right here, kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I heard that Simone Biles was liberal, but she goes off on Riley Gaines for what she said about this high school team. Check this out.
The best United States female gymnast that we've ever seen. And considering she's the most decorated female gymnast of all time, you could probably just say she's the greatest to ever do it, period, from any country. However, just like so many woke activist athletes do, especially some of the female ones, when they retire, when they step away from the sport, they're no longer supposed to be competing, they suddenly become advocates for men to come and invade their sports. And certainly transgender athletes, it's been a massive problem that's only getting worse over the past several years. As so many boys and men snap their fingers, decide to change their gender, and suddenly, even though they were average before, start dominating in whatever specific sport that they play. Well, Simone Biles, today of all days, decided to go after one of the people who has been the most, if not the most vocal proponent for keeping men out of women's sports and truly uplifting women as opposed to letting men destroy sports. And that is, of course, Riley Gaines. I was shocked when I saw these tweets going back and forth, but here it is. Simone Biles lobs extreme personal attack at Riley Gaines over criticism of trans athletes. And this all started when Riley Gaines called out a high school softball team that has a male on the team who absolutely dominated, complete game, no hit, shutout, stuff like this on their way to the state championship. And Riley Gaines called it out because when the high school posted, they of course turned the comment section off because they were getting obliterated. Because it's really not fair when you've got somebody with a physical, biological advantage who is a man playing against other women. Riley Gaines calls that
a high school boy. By the way, I played in high school. And I've played with people that were really, really good at sports. And high school kids can be extremely gifted physically. And so I could imagine if this kid's even halfway as gifted as some of the top players, it would almost be like he's double the person. He would be double of what he can do on a softball field when he's facing women.
Biles went after Outkicks Riley Gaines Friday afternoon with a string of inaccurate, ridiculous personal criticisms, all because Gaines pointed out it's unfair for male transgender athletes to dominate women's sports. The disagreement stemmed from Gaines commenting on the transgender softball player that dominated the female competition in Minnesota's state softball championship. When announcing their celebration of male athlete winning by relying on unfair physical advantage, the Minnesota State High School League turned off its comments on X. Gaines noticed saying comments off to be expected when your star player is a boy. And let's pull that one up right here. I wonder if you can spot the boy. Oh, maybe it's the one that is towering over all the other players that physically dominated them on the field. Yeah, that's the one. And this post is ratioed and no comments. Weird how that works, isn't it? Simone Biles decided to get in on the action here. At Riley Gaines, you're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race. Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps find a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. Maybe a transgender category in all sports. But instead, you bully them. One thing for sure is no one in sports is safe with you around. Let's dig into this a little bit. Yeah, Riley Gaines competed against Leah Thomas, a man who was an average pedestrian male swimmer until Will Thomas snapped his fingers, changed his name to Leah, started pretending to be a woman, and dominating women's swimming, setting national records, winning national championships. But it goes far beyond just that. Will Thomas was in the locker room with the female swimmers. You want to talk about feeling safe? Oh, you're just complaining because you lost a race. It goes well beyond that. And this is about all women participating in sports. And Simone Biles, guess what? You wouldn't have all those medals if you were competing against men. That's the truth of it.
So one, I think it's crazy that first of all, Leah Thomas got fifth place and he was a man. You should have got first place, honestly. So you lost to four other women. But other than that, if I need to get one of them, I need to get them things where I can make where I can make noises whenever someone says something crazy, right? Or something that I like. Like I need a boom, like boom, or something like that. Because what he just said right there is 100% facts. Simone Biles, what if she went up against male Olympic athletes in gymnastics? She probably would not have won as many medals as she did. So how ironic is it that all of a sudden after she's retired, now she has a voice to say that men can play in women's sports? When if a man played against you, you would have got torched. You would have got ridiculously built or beat. It would have been bad. You dang sure wouldn't have got the medals that you have. So kind of ironic. It's crazy. Let's continue on.
Would you be saying this if you were, I don't know, 20, 21 years old and you thought that a man could come on to the Olympic team and maybe take your roster spot? Would you be advocated for the inclusion of trans athletes in your sport? This is absolutely wild. And then she followed it up. Bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a male at Riley Gaines. Now, Simone Biles is a midget like a lot of gymnasts are. Do you think Riley Gaines is like 6 foot tall? I've met Riley Gaines. I've talked to Riley Gaines. I've stood next to her. She's like 5'6", which maybe a slightly tall for a girl, probably not for a normal female athlete. 5'6", maybe 5'8" in heels is Riley Gaines. Here's the problem. Here's Will Thomas. Here are the men competing against Riley Gaines. That's just the problem, Simone. Males are much bigger than Riley Gaines. This dude towers over her. And
to be a swimmer, that is a complete advantage, by the way. To be a 6'1" male with much more bone density and muscle mass, you are absolutely having an unfair advantage. And you still got fifth place. That's crazy, man.
What Riley Gaines has done in the past couple of years is probably more trying to protect female athletes than anyone else has done. And like I said, I've met her. I've talked to her. She's a sweetheart. She's awesome. And I totally support what she's doing. But this is where Simone Biles is at because she realized how much pushback she was getting and she had to double down. And it is a massive self-own for Simone Biles to go on this tangent about you should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive. Men compete with men. Women compete with women. That's what Riley Gaines has been advocating for. She's been advocating for keeping the men out of women's sports. Not to ban them, not to ban trans athletes. Let them play sports, just not against women if they're biological men. This really is not that complex or hard. Simone Biles, an incredibly embarrassing display. Sage Steele put her on blast. Easy to say to Simone Biles when you only had to compete against fellow women. Every one of your Olympic medals came competing against women. Riley Gaines was not only forced to compete against a man, but forced to share a locker room with a man. That is sick. Shocked and disappointed you'd attack another woman who has done nothing but uplift other women. If you think it makes sense to create a league for trans people, go for it. Use that huge platform of yours. But to attack Riley for what she has done for little girls who want to be the next Simone Biles is sick.
It doesn't matter what you choose to believe. It doesn't matter what political party you follow. Like, literally, by science and nature, it should never be okay to place a woman up against a man in any type of sports event where it requires physical strength. It requires you to use your body in a way that you're exerting yourself, because men will always have an advantage. At least, men and women that measure up within like, the same, like, okay, you could get like a really obese man. He's going to lose in a race against a skinny woman, right? Obviously. But if you get two people that are training for the same goal, that is unfair. It's absolutely unfair. And for the women, the young ladies that had to compete against this transgender young boy, I would be upset. I would be upset that they won a state championship because of his help. Like, the kid's obvious, like, apparently he's a star. He's not a scrub. So now if you put him up against other boys his age, he would probably get torched. And I don't see how that's fair. I think Simone Biles should have just like minded her own business in this matter because she never went up against a man. She does not know how that feels to have the pressure to try to beat a man in a sport that you both have worked hard for. And if she had lost to a man, would she be saying the same thing? Or would she be on the side of Riley Gaines and other people that had to unfairly compete against a man in a sport that is for women? It's crazy. Look, man, let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section. All right, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and hit the post notification bell so you do not miss another video. My name's Aaron Page. I'll catch y'all on the next video. Until next time, I'm out.